It's your girl, the grown woman gamer, coming back at you with another fire commentary. And I just wanted to take some time to talk about Russell Westbrook. If you don't already know, Paul George decided to ask for a trade from the Oklahoma City Thunder to the Los Angeles Clippers to go play with Kawhi. And if you recall, or if you watch basketball, you know that Kevin Durant asked to be sent to the Golden State Warriors, or he left to go play with the Golden State Warriors. And so, again, Russell Westbrook is faced with the similar situation where he had an excellent co-star, someone who is an MVP caliber player, but they didn't want to stay and play with him. And a lot of people are asking the question why, especially considering that Russell Westbrook is arguably one of the most dominant players in the world. And for some people who watch basketball a lot, the answers to that question are pretty obvious, and for other people, maybe not so much. I have this theory about basketball in terms of what it really takes to actually win a championship. And I've been watching basketball my whole life for over 30 years. I've watched some of the greatest basketball players in the world, from Kobe, MJ, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, LeBron James, Kevin Durant. I've seen some really good teams, like the Boston team that went to the championship under Doc Rivers. And I know that there's a certain thing that elevates certain teams and certain players above others and puts them in position to dominate and win at a very high level. And Russell Westbrook has all the makings of an amazing athlete, and he's a very good basketball player. But mentally, he does not seem to have that thing that a lot of the more dominant players who have won championships consistently have, and he just simply does not have the leadership skills. I watched the playoffs all last year, and I was watching Harden and his struggles. I watched Giannis get taken down by Toronto, and of course I watched that series between the Blazers and the Thunder. And after watching it, I was like, you know what, Russell Westbrook needs a lot more than a great teammate or a great trainer. He needs a life coach. He needs somebody to come in and help him to develop the soft skills and the leadership skills that will enable him to inspire people around him to want to follow him and to have like a certain type of level-headedness, to slow the game down a bit, to make adjustments, and to really be more of a coach on the court than just this kind of wrecking ball. And until he develops those skills, I don't think that he is going to be the guy that takes any team over the top. With that said, he seems like a very stubborn person, so and that stubbornness is probably the very thing that has helped him to get to where he is today. And I'm not saying any of this to put him down, but I'm just saying that he may need to be the second person behind another great star, or he might just be like Allen Iverson and be this amazing, entertaining basketball player that is really fun to watch, that can get butts and seats in a arena, but just will never have a ring. And for what it's worth, that's not a hard life either, because he'll make a crap ton of money. He'll be able to provide an amazing life for his family, and he'll go down in history as a guy who was able to put numbers up unlike anything we've ever seen before. And there are certain players like him and James Harden who may very well have that story, but no ring. And because of that, I'm taking a step back and kind of looking at the teams that would be ideal for him to go to. I actually think New York is the perfect place for him to go. If he's not a player that's going to win a ring, why not go into a market that really fits with the style and personality of the player? I think New York would embrace what he is and the type of branding around him as far as fashion, style, culture. And there are a lot, he probably has a lot of connections in New York because of his interest in those things. Um, and New York has a lot of money to spend. They don't really have a player that they're dumping tons of cash on. And if they play their cards right, they might be able to build a team around him that is a real playoff contender in the East, which is it's still an easier conference to win in than the West. The second team that may be a good fit, I know a lot of people are thinking Miami, but I actually think Detroit is a good fit for him. The reason why I think Detroit would be a good fit is based on the players that they have there and how there are some very good offensive and defensive players, especially in a player like Blake Griffin, for example. But nobody there is so ball dominant that they're going to feel challenged by how much he wants to have the ball. And they have some good supporting players there that, again, can play a style of basketball that he may fit into. The third team that I would consider if I were him, this is going to sound a little bit off the beaten path, but a team like Phoenix would be great for him too. And again, the reason why is that they're a younger team. He could go in there. I don't know if he would provide a certain amount of leadership, but they do have some pieces that could contend in the West. And they might be able to embrace him and let him do his thing. And then I really don't think the Heat is a good option for him. I think that Jimmy Butler has been fighting for the last 3 years to finally get a team that is his own. And he has a very big ego. And to ask him to play with a Russell Westbrook, on the surface of it, it does not seem like that would be a good fit. Now, with that said, both of those players are really hardworking, and I think that they would have a great deal of respect for each other's work ethic. And Jimmy Butler is a player who really loves to win. And if you've ever watched him play, you can see that he fights until the end. He makes pretty good decisions. And maybe he would actually have the kind of backbone to temper Russell Westbrook's ego a little bit. So that potentially could be a good fit, but I still think that they would need a really strong coach to rein both of those guys in and create a solid unit that can fight in the East. But the moral of the story is that Russell Westbrook needs to leave the West. He does not need to be playing in the West if he wants to win a championship, because ultimately, unless he's able to join the Lakers or the Clippers, or even the Golden State Warriors, it would be almost impossible for him to get a ring staying in Oklahoma City and trying to play in the West to advance to the Western Conference Finals, win against whatever team prevails in the East. And so, I don't know. Those are my thoughts. Please feel free to leave a lot of comments if you agree or disagree with me. Thank you so much for listening to this video or listening to my commentary. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @GrownWomenGamer. Peace.